Hello, hello. This is Tiffany Angulo with Tiffany's Nail Babes here, and I am here today to show you how to put on a Color Street pedicure set on your toes. I recently did a video where I showed you guys how to use the Color Street pedicure sets on your fingernails. So I'm going to show you today how to use your pedicure set and still have enough left over to do that mani as well, all from one set. So as you see, you do still get the 8 different sizes of the nail strips. And then they are kind of shaped a little bit differently though than the fingernail strips. So you've got a little bit more of this square rounded shape, which is going to match up with the base of your toenail right here. And then they are smaller lengthwise and widthwise down here as needed for your toes. So first things first is you will push back your cuticles and you will use your alcohol prep pad on your toes. You also want to make sure that you have nice clean feet. Okay, we don't want any oils, lotions, or dirt getting in the way of our Color Street. So I have already done all of that, so let's go ahead and get to it. I like to start with my big toes, which I know is kind of the opposite of what you do with your hands. Always finish with your thumbs last on your hands. But I don't need my big toenails to do anything. So we are going to start there. And what I am going to do is I am going to peel this top part off. Okay. And then, so we peel away the purple, peel away the backing from the silver tab. And if you will notice down here, like I said, it's not double-ended, okay? So this will still peel off the little silver tab. And we might need that in a little bit, but for right now, I am going to start with just the pink. So I do need this. I have a really wide toe on this one nail, so the nail strips are a little bit stretchable if you're gentle when you pull on them. So I do need to do that for this toenail, but we're going to apply it exactly how we do our Color Street on our fingers, right? Okay, so I'm going to place it in the center of my nail. I'm going to push down the center first and then down the sides. Okay, and as if you can tell, guys, I still have a whole bunch of polish left over, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break off any extra. I got a weirdly shaped toe there, so the one side I have to break some off of, the other I don't. Okay, I wanna use this on another nail. That's a lot of good nail polish. I don't want to just throw it away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my finger so it doesn't get all folded down. And then I am going to break off the excess with my fingers. Okay. So this side is orange. If this had been the same color, I would have used this leftover on my other big toe. But I like my feet to match and not be mismatched. So what I'm gonna do is I am actually gonna put orange on my other toenail, okay? So what you can do is you can go to your very next toe and you can literally take the polish, okay? And I am just gonna place it on top of that toe. Yes, I have gone all the way around my toenail and I've pressed it down so you can see nicely where the little indents are. Okay, that's the key. So you want to make sure you get it nice and pressed down. And then I'm going to just use my thumbnail right here in a kind of like back and forth sawing action to remove that excess. And then I'm going to come up in here and I'm going to shape it a little bit to match my toe with that little back and forth sawing action. So same thing on the other side is I'm going to make sure it's nice and up against the edge. And then I'm just going to use my thumbnail and kind of get that little, you do have to kind of press down a little bit. Trust me, you'll feel it when you press. And then again here, I still have all this polish I don't want to mess up, right? That I want to use. So I'm going to break that off just like that. Okay. Next up, I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to kind of place that, there you go, just like that. So you can move it around to place it where you want it, to have the design where you like on your toe, because you're basically, what you're doing is you are just, right, once it's nice and in there, you're just moving and breaking it off just as if it was excess, the same as it is on your fingernails, okay? Now, the one thing you want to make sure that you do is, since your cuticles have been pushed back, you can feel where they are, right? So you want to make sure that you are not leaving any of the polish on top of the cuticle. So like right here, I've got a little polish, so I am just gonna come in there again with that sawing action, and then I will fold this down, break it off, and look at that. I got 3 nails out of 1 of the big strips, right? And I still have this strip right here, which is the next size down, which is plenty big enough for me to do my thumbs, okay? So when I do my thumbs, I'm gonna use this one and I'll place it right here and do that. So I'm gonna go ahead, because that last strip is probably gonna do all 4 nails. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap over and do the same thing on the other side. Peel off the top, peel off the back. Again, I have fairly large toes, so I do have to stretch these just a little bit. Now, if your toes are even wider than mine, what you can do is, I have pretty wide toenails, but what you can do is you can do the strip sideways like this. Okay, so instead of going like this to place it down, you can do it sideways and it'd be the same concept. You would just break it off right there. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, because that is another way you can do. So when you are doing sideways, I like to get it all the way up into that side. So start on one side, and then I'll kind of make sure I'm placing it nice against here. Okay. And then again, it is really just all about getting it nice and pressed down. And then this side, so again, you want to just make sure that you might have to lift it up a little to kind of get it in that little crevice down there. And then once I have it pressed down, I'm going to do exactly what I did on my little toes. So I am just using my thumbnail to break off that excess. I'm going to come in here and press down on that, do the same thing. Okay, so just like that. And then I'm going to just kind of bend that stuff over right there. And break it off. So pull off any of the excess that's on the side, kind of look at it, make sure it looks good, that it's nice and piece doesn't want to come off. There it goes. That it's nice and it looks all great like that. And then I still have all this extra left over. Now, doing it sideways, I did not have as much left over as I did if I had done it regular, but that's okay. I've still got plenty of polish. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on that other one. I'm going to kind of put that flower where I want it. And then I'm just going to break that off. Now, if you don't have thumbnails, okay, you can use a cuticle pusher. In fact, some people prefer to use a cuticle pusher because it helps them to get in there and actually push it down into the side of the, like all the way down the edges. I find I can easily do that with my thumbnail. And to me, the thumbnail is just faster because I don't have to put the polish down to pick up the cuticle pusher. But if you are going to use a cuticle pusher, you'll use a rubber tipped one to push it in. You know what? Let's see. You never know. Sometimes they'll fit, sometimes they won't. They'll fit on that nail. Why not? Let's see. Orange. It's a pinkish orange. It'll be fine. Okay, so again, I'm gonna just place it right down, use every last little bit, right? Feel where the edges are, kind of crease it, and then saw back and forth with your thumb. And I have these super weird pinky nails. I know a lot of people have them too, and they're super hard to get polish on. So I'm gonna show you guys my little trick for doing that. It doesn't always work, but it works like most of the time. So you might have to see me try to do it twice. Let's go ahead and pick up the next one though. I think I'm probably gonna use this one because I might be able to get all 4 out of this one. So then I could have done a whole pedicure out of just 3 strips. Okay, so you do want pink here. So that's what I have on my other nail. So go ahead and put that down. And then we're just breaking off by pushing up underneath the nail. Okay. Okay, so this one over here. And I want some orange on that. Go right in here. And then we'll get to the tough one, that itty bitty little pinky nail. If you don't have these itty little bitty pinky nails, consider yourself super lucky because they are a pain. The biggest thing is that there's so little nail that the polish doesn't like to stick to it. Okay, so I have this much polish left. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half. And I'm gonna use 1 on 1, but I do, since your nail's pretty flat, you do want it to be pretty fat. I don't know if you guys can see how tiny that is. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it to the best that I can on there. Put it to the best that I can, then I can fold it down. And then I'm gonna come in with my handy dandy cuticle pusher. Okay, this is the key, is to actually press the nail down onto the nail itself. And then like right here, I can obviously go ahead and break off what is on the side. So I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna kind of fold it down, and I have to keep, the key is to keep coming back in here and making sure that it's pressed nice and good. And I'm gonna let that sit while I do the other nail, okay? Oh, that's not it. So same thing on this one. This one is actually probably twice the size of that nail. Of 1 foot. There's a little, everybody has different feet, you know, like the one side's never exactly lined up with the other. But so pretty much same thing here is when you have these tiny toenails, it's really all about making sure it is pressed down really good on the nail before you go to break off the excess. Okay, so this excess up here, if this isn't pressed down and started to cure at least a little bit, like at least a minute or 2 minutes, then it would just pull it off, that little tiny piece. So now that I've got that done, okay, I'll come in and press here just a little bit more. And if you can't tell, I'm pressing hard, okay? So now I'm also gonna hold it, okay? And this is just because it's on so little of the polish that usually when I break it off, it'll pull. You can see how tiny bit of polish that is. It's actually on my toenail. It will pull it off. But if you can get it to stay on, and just give it a nice little good press back down. Always like to go over, make sure I didn't miss any little sides coming off. No, looks good, looks good. Okay. See, look at how pretty that is. Much better than the plain. And then same thing over here is I'm gonna kind of just take this and press it up against, it's harder with my left hand, that it's up there so it's not pulling the polish off. And I'm making sure I'm breaking and not pulling at the same time. So break everything off and then pull. And that's gonna help keep that itty bitty tiny toenail polished. again, just go back over, make sure everything's pressed down. And there you have it. 2 perfectly polished, beautiful feet in just a few minutes. Now they're dry, as long as I don't get them wet within an hour and let them fully cure, they will last like this forever. But I do want to give you guys one helpful one helpful tip. Yeah. Do not leave your toenail polish on for several months at a time, or you will wind up getting an infection. You have to take your toenail polish off at least once a month. If not, really every 2 weeks, you should take your polish off and repolish. That prevents any sort of infection from building up. I actually have a fake toenail on because it got an infection and it broke. So yeah. But if you guys enjoyed this video on how to put on your Color Street toe polish, please like and subscribe so you can keep track of all the other things I do. Thanks. Have a great day.